Good evening to everyone present here. I am Amisha from the 23 batch of Delhi Technological University.
And I am Shambhavi from the 23 batch of DTU.
I hope you all are safe, your families, friends, and relatives are doing great. As you all are aware, the DTU-DCE Fraternity Forum is a forum of alumni, students, and faculty founded with an objective to provide a platform for networking, interaction, and exchange of ideas on technical and managerial issues, personal and professional growths, and extending help to each other. The forum is actively pursuing these objectives and has been organizing very useful programs for the benefit of the fraternity. The motto of the forum is Sahyogin Sarv Siddhi, meaning that everything is possible through cooperation.
As on date, the forum is having more than 3,000 members and more than 3,100 members on the LinkedIn group of the forum. We are having international chapters of the forum in various countries, including Australia, Singapore, and also in various states across India. The forum has also launched its app both on iOS and Android platforms. Keeping in view the objective of the forum, we have come up with this idea of starting a series named Sansmaran Lessons from Life Experiences in partnership with Delhi Management Association for the benefit of DTU-DC fraternity. In this series, we'll be inviting eminent professionals from various fields to share their experiences for the benefit of our fraternity and management professionals. We are happy to announce that the series will be moderated by Shrikrishna Kulkarni sir, who is currently the chairperson of Governing Board of IIM Calcutta and also the senior vice president of DTU-DC Fraternity Forum. Today is the first episode of this series wherein we have invited Sri Arun Jain sir, chairman and managing director of Intellect Design Arena Ltd and founder of Polaris Group, to share his experiences.
To begin with, I would like to introduce Dr. Navneet Kumar Sharma, founder and president of the DTU-DC Fraternity Forum and the chairperson of Government Industry Academia Interface Committee of the Delhi Management Association. Dr. Navneet Kumar Sharma graduated from Delhi College of Engineering in 1985 in mechanical engineering. He later did his ME in production engineering, also from DCE. He completed his MBA and PhD in supply chain management from the Faculty of Management Studies, University of Delhi. Dr. Sharma is from the 1986 batch of IRSS and has held several important positions, including that of Director in the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Government of India from 2007 to 2011. He was also an officer on special duty at Northern Railway. Currently, he serves as the Principal Chief Materials Manager at the Additional Secretary level in COFMO, Ministry of Railways. He is also a Jyotish Acharya and Vastu Shastri from Sri Lal Bahadur Shastri Sanskrit Vidyapith, New Delhi. Dr. Sharma has made astrological predictions on the corona pandemic first and second wave, and the same were published in the Times of India, and all of them have come true. Now I would like to invite Dr. Navneet Kumar Sharma to welcome the participants and share his thoughts on the occasion.
सभी को मेरा प्रणाम. A very good evening to all of you and a very warm welcome to this event. This series of Sansmaran, we wanted to start. This idea came in my mind, and then I discussed with Shrikrishna Kulkarni ji, who was very kind enough to agree to moderate this series. And then I got in touch with Mr. Arun Jain, who is a senior to me in the college. And despite his busy schedule, he was very kind to give us time and address the students, alumni, faculty, and DMA management professionals. So we are very honored to have him in this program. And this is the first of the series of Sansmaran that we are going to have in the coming months. And today is very auspicious day, in the sense today is the birthday of Swami Dayanand Saraswati ji, who was a great social reformer and a very spiritual soul. So we'll be having this program, and I hope all of us will get benefited from the life experiences and thoughts of Mr. Arun Jain. And before I end, I would like to recite a Sanskrit shloka, which जो अरुण जी के ऊपर पूरा चरित्रार्थ होता है, और वो है कि विद्या ददाति विनयम विनयात याति पात्रताम पात्रत्यात् धनम आपनोति धनात् धर्म तथा सुखम। इसका मतलब है कि विद्या विनय को देती है, आदमी को विनम्र बनाती है, विनम्रता से आदमी पात्रता को प्राप्त होता है, और पात्रता जब हो जाती है तो वो धन का अर्जन करता है, और उस धन से जब वो धर्म के कार्य करता है, धर्म नेसेसरली डज नॉट मीन हियर रिलीजन विच इज समाज सेवा ऑल्सो, तो जब वो धन से धर्म के कार्य करता है तब वो सुख को प्राप्त होता है। तो हमारे सनातन की ये सोच है जो मिस्टर अरुण जैन पे बिल्कुल चरित्रार्थ होती है, क्योंकि काफी सोशल कार्यों में भी इस समय लगे हुए हैं और मैं इनके बिजी शेड्यूल को समझता हूं। सो मैं ज्यादा समय ना लेते हुए अपनी वाणी को विराम देता हूं और सभी को फिर से इस प्रोग्राम में मैं बहुत बहुत वेलकम करता हूं। थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite Dr. Yogesh Mishra, President, Delhi Management Association, who is also the Vice President at Thomas Assessments. Please, sir.
Namaskar, good evening. A very warm welcome to Shrikrishna Kulkarni ji, Arun Jain ji, Manju Jain ji, my friend and colleague Dr. Navneet Kumar Sharma, all the youngsters from Delhi DCE DTU Fraternity Forum, and our members of Delhi Management Association. It's a very great occasion for us. In fact, around a month back, Dr. Navneet Kumar Sharma and we were having a discussion, and he mentioned that he was going to start this series, Sansmaran, where people who have achieved in life would come and would share their experiences. And he said that why don't we join hands? And I said nothing could be better, because our association, Delhi Management Association, was formed in 1955 for the very same purpose. We are one of the oldest management associations in the country, and we were formed for disseminating best management practices. The aim was that at the time in 1955, even the IIMs, etc., were not there. The aim was that this was a platform where professionals would come, interact with other professionals, learn, and go back and implement the practices. So I said that this is a wonderful opportunity. In fact, this is a perfect synergy where youngsters as well as working professionals, both of them can come and learn from the speakers. I come from HR profession, so one of the things that we tell when we sit and work on the development plans for people is we say that learning does not only come from classroom. In fact, there is a 70-20-10 principle where we say that only 10% of the learning comes from classroom, 20% comes from learning, observing people, and then actual 70% comes from implementing it. So this is where there are students, there are management professionals. You have an opportunity to learn from the distilled years of experience and everything condensed in an hour. And I'm sure that Shrikrishna Kulkarni ji will make this session lively and interesting, and all of us will benefit from Arun Jain ji's wisdom. So with this, I would like to welcome all of you to this first episode of Sansmaran. And I now hand it over back to the MC, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. Now, introducing the moderator for the first episode of the series, I would like to say that we are blessed to have Shrikrishna Kulkarni, sir, who is currently the chairperson of Governing Board of IIM Calcutta. He is also the Senior Vice President of DTU-DCE Fraternity Forum. He graduated from DCE in 1985 in electrical engineering. He later completed his master's in electrical engineering from the University of Tokyo, Japan in 1991. He later attended program for management development from Harvard Business School in 1999. What is a lesser known fact is that he is the great grandson of the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji. It is an honor to have you, sir, and I would request you to kindly welcome the participants with your remarks. Please, sir.
So much, Shambhavi, for this introduction, which is expansive, and I'm not generally used to this kind of an introduction, especially the last part, but I greatly value it. So I'm not undermining it. Deeply grateful. Yogesh actually mentioned that he's hoping that I'll make this interaction lively, and I'm just fearful in my heart, but Manju Bhabi is also here, and I'm so grateful for her presence. I'm deriving some strength from there, because while Arun, I'll call you Bhai because that's how I've been calling you for years. While he was senior in college, the lesser known fact among many of you would be the fact that although I do not get too many opportunities to meet him, I follow him. It's almost like Dronacharya and Eklavya. So when you are sitting in interviewing somebody who जो गुरु तुल्य होता है, गुरु के पदवी पे होता है, it becomes a little difficult. But I'll try my best, Yogesh and Navneet, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. Before I start interacting with Arun, Bhai, I wanted to just share with all the audience, whoever across the world, there was this brief, introduction to DCE DTU Fraternity Forum, and next time I will work with you so that we introduce it properly. But I would like you to know that this fraternity forum, which was conceptualized by Dr. Navneet Kumar Sharma, the ultimate aim of this fraternity forum, of course, is networking, but it's networking with an aim towards institution building. And the institution is our mother, the alma mater, which was DCE for us and DTU for the students who are going through it now. And so the original discussion started by how can we help our mother extend her eminence or exploit her full potential. And in that discussion, it was pretty clear to us that the four most important stakeholders are generally the students, the faculty, the staff, and the alumni. And they are the four pillars of an educational institution. Now, the important thing is if you really want to help and build an institution, these four stakeholders, what happens is the moment you say I'm a student, faculty, these are labels. So there's a students association, there'll be a faculty association, there'll be an alumni association. Now these labels tend to become boundaries. They tend to become silos in their own existence, And what then happens is an institution is an amalgamation of all these people, the challenges they face, the accountabilities, the responsibilities. So how do we provide a platform where each could understand the other, from an empathetic point of view? That when I look at my teachers, I don't look at them just as teachers. Can I put myself in their shoes? Do I have empathy as to what they need to do? And the reverse, when teachers look at students, what are the students' aspirations from DCE, DTU? So although it helps us build our own individual careers, the final aim of this fraternity forum, that's why the word fraternity, is to go beyond our own good. So it's like a vision, which I think when you make a vision, in my own life, for me, vision is something when you do good through you for somebody else. You don't do good for your own self. Whenever you do good for yourself, cannot be a vision. That's more like a goal. So it was with this rudimentary idea, we thought, can we create some kind of a boundaryless platform where all these four stakeholders could come together, discuss, ideate, expand our views. And this is just a modest start. And it is very, very, I think it's divine grace that we have Arun Bhai today, because as I said, I consider him as a guru, and he is one of those people who has actually walked the talk of from ideation to implementation, from theory to concept and actualization. So Arun Bhai, welcome to you. And initially, Bhai, I would like to just start so that we could understand Arun, the human being, आप Delhi ke hain, you studied in Delhi, you came to Delhi College of Engineering. Just a small snapshot so that we feel that we are not too far away from you. Today you are CMD, like Intellect Design, Polaris, thousands of crores, market capitalization. But a touch point so that all my colleagues across the globe can say, "Ye hamara hi banda hai. We are his." So just some snapshot, bhai, to
Yeah.
start with.
I must first thank this DC DTU fraternity to come together. I think it was a missing piece for quite some time when we passed out from the college way back in 1983. So we were the last batch of 5 year batch of DTU. And I think since it was a 5 year batch of small batch of 75 students, and we all came into college after first year of the Delhi University, it was supposed to be a more notorious batch who can bunk the classes. They had a more confidence to bunk the classes because we have 1 year of college experience when we entered to DTU, and at that time in Kashmiri Gate. So fortunately now you have a good campus. But amazingly, the point in that time of Delhi where I born and brought up, I have born in a large family of 10 siblings, 8 sisters and 2 brothers. And then my father was a accounts officer in Post and Telegraph. We used to live near Birla Mandir, the government quarters. And then we looked at it that after passing out from DC, obviously placement happened well as a part of DC. Normally you get a good placement. I got first 2 placements easily. And then the question was whether should I join there or start the entrepreneurship journey. So 1983, I had a green card. I had 2 options, and then I neither picked up those 2 options. I just jumped into other 2 friends from IIT Delhi and started the company called International Information Systems. That time there was no funding kind of a situation. It was all bootstrapped. So we come to the IT sector because software programming was the only thing which can help in which doesn't require a capital. So we are coming from that kind of a background that we didn't have money to invest into business, all 3 of us, Yogesh and Vishnu. And we started doing some software programming in 1983, which was COBOL programming, basic programming. And then how the journey started from there to Nucleus Software. Nucleus Software is a Delhi-based company. From 86, we had a 2-bedroom apartment in South Ex, where the first office, first floor of the A93 South Ex office. So for Delhi community, they know it. Then we took some office in Palika Bazaar market, and then we took some office in Tyagrannagar market. Then we moved to Noida. So that's the way my personal journey started. And then we moved to Chennai sometime in 1990. And there was a story behind that Chennai. Why Chennai? From Delhi, not to Bangalore and not to US, because from Delhi, people move either to US or to Bangalore, not to Chennai. But I found Chennai. I came for some small project here for one of our clients, Citibank, where I was implementing first credit card. So I was fortunate to use first ATM in India in 1987 when ATMs were not there. Then I looked at it, first credit card when credit card was not existing in India in 1990, or almost 32 years back. So that was those software I written, and that I love the city when I found the ethical values of the city are, I should not say since I'm a Delhiite, so, but ethical values to pay by check for my office premises was possible in Chennai, which was not possible in Delhi, because every property you buy in Delhi, whether we like it or not, but we need to pay number 1, number 2, and we as a people, we can't pay any number 2 as a professionals, and that doesn't create a professional culture of the company. So I decided that it's better to do a job in Chennai or set up the company in Chennai. So that time, 1993, I set up Polaris in Chennai with a small capital of a fuel. That time it's almost like some 1 or 2 lakh rupees. But fortunately, the growth happened between 93 to 2000. We grew at a CAGR of 100%. So from 1 crore to 260 crore just took 7 years to look at. And we went public sometime in 1999. In 1999, as soon as we went public, it was surprising we suddenly found.
Bhai, before you go ahead, I'll stop you for 1 minute because
Sure,
you
please.
spoke about CAGR of 100% going from 2 crores to 260 crores. I just have one question more for the larger audience. When you go through a growth spurt of this scale, uh, as a human being, not as a leader, what were the kind of doubts and challenges that were assailing you in your mind? And are they normal? And if so, what are the tools that, as a human being who's still in the growth phase, what were the tools that you used to overcome them? If you could just spare a few words on that, Bhai.
It's very interesting point. I think when you grow for the spurt phase, how to create a community in the organization. So first thing was in 93, we set up a community we call Konark later on, but we used to go to Lakshya annual planning session where every employee is involved. In 93, 94, there was no stock option scheme in the company. So to me, that's doubts and conflicts and fears and ego and limiting belief. Krish, that is a typically happens in everybody's life. So these 5 things are there along with the skills and expertise, but whatever we may have.
Right.
But I call it DCAF: doubt, conflict, anger, fear, and ego. These
Right.
5 elements are core elements in our human mind. These are not related to me, you, or anybody else. They are
Okay.
natural part of the human mind, and that's. But for that, you need a community. Only if you have a strong community which supports you, that helps in resolving some of the doubts, some of the conflicts. And whenever, instead of having a discussion or reviews, I call it dialogue. Because if you have a dialogue where both people listen to each other and then we create a third opportunity, that becomes a dialogue. When we do discussion or when we do review, when we give a statement, then it doesn't create an opportunity of evolving a third alternative. And obviously, when we grow from 2 crore to 260 crore with the kind of infrastructure challenges, the cash challenges, the payments at salary payment at month end, and without any fundraise. So we raised the first fundraise sometime in 97. But I think the commitment, we should have a stock option scheme. Some of the chartered accountant in DMA in 94. Now you say 94 didn't have a stock option plan because ESOP plan in India came in 97 or 98.
Yes.
We created a trust, and through the trust, I created a stock option scheme called Konark Stock Options Plan, and that helped in bringing the community together, who supported me throughout this aggressive phase of growth.
Bhai, one more point, very important, which I wish to ask. I also went through a small phase of entrepreneurship, but when you had this community supporting you, how important, it's clear to me, but you must have gone through it, and I want to hear it through you. How important was your own credibility and transparency to the community? Because the community, different people perceive you differently, and many times in challenges what happens is sometimes we are falling short of explaining the challenge the way it is. We may see it in some way, but we don't probably communicate it in that way, and that can then compound into misunderstandings. I don't know if I'm right about this, but this is how I went through in my life. Did you have something similar when you were getting such solid support from your community?
I think we design certain processes, Krish, to build a trust. So what you are mentioning is sometimes misinterpretation happen. Misinterpretation happen when the trust levels are not to a deeper level. So to establish a deeper level trust, first of all, is a finance becomes a critical issue. I stopped signing the checks way back in 1997 because everything was check payment, no cash payment in the company. It builds a trust that everything is up above the table. But that's the only small level of trust. Financial trust is only one thing, but trust that what we are walking the talk is the biggest trust which is there. I never purchased any car till now which is Mercedes or anything. I always lived in the same kind of a car. If Maruti is a standard, I will drive Maruti. If today Hyundai is a model which will be there, I will drive the Hyundai. So I want to keep my stature in the community same level at anybody else in the company, which is the largest manager which is there. And a lot of time, my manager says, why can't you have a better car or better house or better bungalow or something? But the humility becomes a critical part of building a trust, second part of the building a trust in the community. And when the conflicts are there, then we need to have a regular channels and events. Like I created 4 festivals in a year. The way we celebrate Hindu festival, Diwali, Holi, I believe corporate should also have a festival. So every time when we meet outside the basic forum, then you interact and all this dialogues can be converted. So we used to go to, let's say, every outing, every once a year in a book a train and everybody spend book a full bogie and go together with the entire community, with their families. A lot of ice breaking happens during that period, which normally CEO don't do.
Yes. This is very, very important nuggets, which nobody teaches. I find this kind of teaching completely missing. And I was going through your pet subject, which is design thinking, innovation. And, I was just wondering, Arun bhai, before we get into design thinking and innovation and how you shifted from Polaris. Polaris was a brand in itself, but then you started Intellect, which is another brand. But before I get into that, I just wanted to ask you, innovations, they can be small or big, and you know this better than anybody else today on the audience anyway. But I'm just wondering, are innovations best when they are addressing a human need? This is a question I always, because innovations can be of various types, but does do they become better if they're addressing a human need? What is your view on that, Pai?
Krish, if you want to define innovation, there's a prior word called idea before innovation.
Right, yes.
And we need to define idea. What is idea? Idea sometimes we don't define. We know idea is there, but we know if you try to define idea, how will you define the idea? Idea is connecting the knowledge, same knowledge in a new pattern is the idea. Let's say if I say that e-commerce business, which is Amazon, is running its big fad called e-commerce business, and there's a mail order business. Now, mail order business was not successful business, but e-commerce business becomes a successful business. What is the one single dot they connected? They connected a one single dot saying they can collect the order online. They can publish the catalog online, and they can collect the order online. That was the only shift they made it. And back-ended processes are same. So innovation is about just connecting one dot. IKEA, what did they do? They said furniture takes a lot of time, lot of space, lot of logistic cost. Make it as separate pieces and assemble it where you want to place it. And suddenly the one idea of saying we can disaggregate the parts of the furniture and it becomes a $100 billion opportunity. So innovation is sometimes we need to understand from, you are saying human need is a starting point, because human need is a logistics, human need is a convenience on which I place an order. And what idea is there, can continue that idea. This idea may come to 10 different people, but the difference between IKEA and Jeff Bezos would be they will run with the idea and they will sustain the idea over the 100 years, for density, which is required for making the idea successful. And that becomes innovation. Once idea is done, resilience, that becomes innovation.
Right. Bhai, the next question to this that comes to my mind is, while you do have innovation and you have ideas, so and I'm trying to lead up with some way to the design thinking part of it. When you look at ideas, you do ideate things about somebody's a human need, but there are sometimes human needs which are unstated. So there are stated needs and unstated needs. So I was just trying to look at the way my thinking is right now going, and with these things, can you just take us through some of the important nuggets of what it means to be design thinking? Because we design products, we design services, management people will design business models, and you may have service models, you could have strategy designs and all that. But design thinking is such a unique word. You're designing the thinking of a human being. And what I'm getting a feel is there are so many concrete and abstract parts to this, and this attempt to make it, make it a science and make it a systematic approach seems to be so beautiful. Some people get it naturally, some don't. But this entire way, the way in which you teach it, you look at it. Could you share some things? I know it's very difficult to crunch a 1.5 hour lecture into a few minutes, but our audience would be thrilled if you could share something.
Okay, so if I look at design thinking comes from our old philosophy, Hindu philosophy, as Navneet talks about darshan, gyan, charitra. If I look at it, our Shastra says that I need to understand darshan first. If I have a right darshan, then I have a right knowledge, which is gyan. And then once I have a right knowledge, I have a right charitra, which is my character and what is my implementation. So if I translate that into a modern corporate world, darshan is the way I look at the world. The darshan is the way philosophy works. The darshan, so that is a part of, I say darshan and design thinking are similes, same word. So when you want to change something, whether you say strategy, business systems, first of all, you have to change the darshan first. And darshan is the design thinking to me. In Western world, design thinking is called human desirability, technology feasibility, business viability. That's what IDEO Stanford defines the design thinking. Similarly, there's a second definition of design thinking, which is defined by Rogers, which is saying it is about mystery. You start seeing the patterns and you start making a heuristics out of it. And when you make an algorithm, that's a design thinking. Third definition is you understand the unstated need of the customer, observe the pattern and anti-patterns, and then you connect the dot within the box, outside the box, unearth the blind spots. That becomes a design thinking. So multiple definitions of design thinking is there. But I originate from Eastern philosophy that first of all, I need to prepare the mind for design thinking. Once your mind is right, you can design your business right, and you can design your systems right, and then you design the product rights. So product is only a third stage of integrating design thinking to all the spaces. And that's why I suggest that design thinking should be first year engineering college should be starting with the design thinking, because that's where the way we study nobody taught us why we study strength of material in electrical engineering. Yeah. And we never able to relate to that. We
went from, I think we went from what was that, weekly exams to weekly exams and how to beat the system. आपको तो याद होगा. Marks कैसे लाने हैं?
कैसे लाने हैं? तो out of three tests, 2 tests has to be good. 1 test you बदमाशी करके कहीं निकल जाओ, दूसरे test में. Correct. And you do the guesswork, which exams will be there.
Totally agree. There was no context to why we were learning. It was probably driven by examination learning, I think.
Yeah,
it was,
that's
you used a very critical word, that if you have the right mind. So, I will use some management jargon on this one. How do you break this cognitive fixedness? The cognitive fixedness that happens, it prevents us from adopting unconventional perspectives or creating unconventional solutions, because most of us are human beings who have been conditioned by our experiences, our families, our education. So आपने जो एक शब्द कहा, if you have the right mind, फिर ये हो जाता है third level. So I think you are also mentioning, I think it is our conditioned mind. So that is the cognitive fixedness. Have you experienced any process by which this can be broken or challenged?
I think this very important point, Krish, brought it, that fixed mind. What's a fixed mind means? Today, if I look at my office, I have a cubicle. Every person is sitting in a cubicle. His starting of fixed mind is his table and chair and the cubicle in which he sits. Do you have an open space where he can place himself somewhere in an open space? The way we design the classrooms, can we design the classroom in office learning and training center? So when the conditioning can change, it can change only from 2 things. One is I get some inspiration.
Right.
Once I get an inspiration, then my conditioning can change. because inspiration is a sufficient power in human mind which can change the way people think, and once the thinking changes. So we created a 30,000 square feet design center first. When I wanted to move from services business to product business, first thing I did is, now it has to be changed. Conditioned mind has to be changed, because we as the Indian, we are order taker.
Yes.
Americans give the order to us, we write the software as per American orders.
Yes.
If you have to design software products which are suitable for global market, then I need to be agenda setter. I need to set the agenda first, and then I will go into the writing the software. And how do you change that mindset of an agenda setter who are, for the 100 years, I'm designed for the order taker. Somebody has to tell me what is to be done.
Just hold it there, Arun Bhai. So you change your, now this is supremely, it's phenomenal that you're taking an organization and changing its mindset from order taking to agenda setting.
That's right.
This is a leap change. And could you just take few steps, tell us what were the challenges? Because I know none of us will be able to soak in everything, but those of us who are interested could always reach back into you, and you have a design office. Could you just share these things with us? Why this is incredible.
Yeah. So first of all, Krish, I try to start having a training session. What you are saying, 70, 20, 10, as it was mentioned by.
Yes, Yogesh ji was mentioning.
Yogesh ji was mentioning.
Right.
So by training, it only 10% change, but I didn't able to change anybody for the beyond 10%. First of all, then I sat down, reflect back, put some 10 people team to design the thing. What is the inspiration center for the mindset shift? Then I said, I got inspiration from Disney World. I got inspiration from Cadbury's museum in Britain. Birmingham, there's a Cadbury museum, and Disney World, we go. What did they do? I said that Disney World is nothing but 100 times the Mela which we have in a village. But the underlying element of Disney World are same as Jhula and some museum and some ride and some eating places which is there in the Mela of the village also. But if you scale it up to 100 times, then human mind thinks, oh, wow, this is such a big thing which is there. So need to create a design center which has experience of some journey which creates some trigger in your mind. And that was the first thing which I designed it. And I said, let's take huge space, 30,000 square feet space you take just to design the design center. And then we say, how do you, now the people come from GE, people come from Citibank, people come from JP Morgan, they come with a conditioned mindset. How do you neutralize that mindset? Because they come with the same kind of a belief system that certain ways of running corporate. Then we created a dialogue room. The whole sitting patterns were, whole design space was changed. We removed the cubicle from the office. It's a long table where people can see face to each other. They can talk to each other. So whole structure has been changed from the sitting patterns. So sitting pattern, inspiration pattern, and then having a workshop which is no agenda meeting. We have a 3-day workshop called Lakshya, for which we don't publish the agenda. There's no agenda for that. Because if I publish the agenda, then that agenda means that is my agenda. That's not a community agenda. That's not a group agenda. Wow, if I do the agenda beforehand, then what will I get out of that group? Now it's very uncomfortable for international people who are traveling from US that I am going for a 3-day trip and I don't know what the agenda will be.
I love this. I just love this. This is really walking your talk. This is really walking your talk.
And it becomes difficult for, but agenda evolves within when you have no agenda meeting, agenda gets evolved when you talk each other.
So, Bhai, can I be a little mischievous here? So when you do this kind of stuff, so I can imagine that on that long table, you're also bringing in all kinds of people. You're not bringing in only the same kind of people, right?
That's right.
So, when I go there, I will not see another Krish there. Yeah. I may see maybe, and I may not even see Amisha or Shambhav here because we are all engineers. I may see somebody totally different. This is incredible. Right. So basically, you're really, it's almost as if it's this thinking, you're not putting any boundaries on it, no agendas, no boundaries. Is that one of the basic tenets of this, Bhai?
Yeah, that's what I call it, that on it, if you observe the tree, the birds, multiple birds sit on the same tree. There will be crow, next time there will be parrot on the same tree, it will be there. Some migratory bird is there.
Yes.
Why there is no fight and for boundaries? This was a question came to my mind in 2007 that when I was observing the tree. I found why they're not fighting. Every animal fight, dog fights, cat fight, human being fights for the space. Then only answer I could get to myself was they live in 3-dimensional space. We live in 2-dimensional space. As soon as there's 3-dimensional space, there's no shortage of space for us.
This is very astute. So there is no fight in the sea and there is no fight in the sky. There's only a fight on the land.
Fight in the land.
But sea is 3-dimensional. That's why you use the word unmukt, is it?
Unmukt. That's the word I use, unmukt.
Because I saw about unmukt, but I couldn't understand. There used to be a poet, I think, हम पंछी उन्मुक्त गगन के or something.
बिल्कुल वही उन्मुक्त.
आपने वहीं से उठाया शायद.
वहीं से उठाया उन्मुक्त. हमने कहा कि उन्मुक्त अगर दिमाग उन्मुक्त हो जाए जब,
right,
तो फिर सभी चीजें जो है छोटी-छोटी ऑफिस में जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स हैं, they are small. They are not a big conflicts most of the time.
भाई, I know this Navneet and all will ask us on time. मैं एक प्रश्न आपसे जरूर पूछना चाहता हूँ. आप कॉर्पोरेट की तो बात कर ली, we did, but I know and I have had the good fortune of visiting you. I have had the good fortune of learning under you at the design center. But the most impressive part, which Navneet started by that Sanskrit shlok, जो आपके चारित्र पे खरा बैठता है, is about the social work that you're doing. And आपने मुझे वो chance भी दिया था initially, immediately after I had finished the walk across India, Mission Samriddhi ka. Can you tell us how you're using design thinking to change the landscape at the rural end, which is the center of mass of India? Because many of us talk about rural stuff, although we have no right, because we don't know what rural India is, we don't know how they live, how they think. But बातें बड़ी बड़ी करते हैं. And I think you have gone down to the ground. So ये प्रश्न मेरा आपसे जायज़ है कि आप कैसे डिजाइन थिंकिंग को रूरल लैंडस्केप, because that's where India is. अभी भी India is in the villages. मेरे I don't think I am very far from the truth, but a few words from you on that, bhai.
So this is again inspiration come from your great grandfather Gandhiji. When I visited Wardha, Bapu Kuti,
Right.
I got inspired from that what village is there, and I saw the village has not changed. Whatever Gandhiji was there in 1947 or 1948.
Yeah, it hasn't changed. I grew up there. I spent so many summers. Nothing has changed, bhai.
So then I found in 2015, if villages of the India are same, then what is the total understanding of the village? I didn't know much about the structure, so I spent a lot of time. So what I did is I started conducting workshop of design thinking workshop, where I started bringing as NGOs and civil services organization, government organization, for working towards applying design thinking. That what the total system of panchayat is there in India. India has 250,000 panchayat.
Yes.
Now each panchayat leader to me is the CEO of the village.
Yes,
now,
absolutely.
does he have the same capability as CEO of the company? We don't have any institute. We have a IIM Calcutta or IIM Bangalore, but we don't have IIPM, Indian Institute of Panchayat Management.
And that panchayat leader has probably 5,000-6,000 employees, like people under him. He's a big company.
He runs a big company, and you are giving an authority to somebody run a big company without imparting any management talent to him.
True.
So there should be Indian Institute of Panchayat Management. I said, okay, we can tell government to set up an institution, but then we need to learn first what the institution should do.
Right.
And that's why I started looking all the villages. We started working in almost 10 different states, from Jharkhand to Bihar to Andhra to Karnataka. And we started employing, I created a Polaris Foundation, put the money into Polaris Foundation, and that money is used for hiring these people. And they are professional people from IBM, people from TCS, people from other organizations start coming, professional people start joining this organization. And we start running with the various NGOs. And what we do is cluster development program. We pick up 5 panchayat and we put up with 1 full-time person on a 5 panchayat. And then we put up with every village, we have a VRP, village resource person. And then we start deploying a framework called D1 to D7, which is a first framework is personal development. How do we change their mindset? How do you change the mindset of sarpanchis and villages that they think big about and build up a can-do approach? Then I start the social development process, which is around education, around healthcare, around social justice, around infrastructure, around.
So you're basically applying the same darshan to charitra cycle, is it?
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
आप जो अभी कह रहे थे पहले कि दर्शन उनका वर्ल्ड व्यू आप चेंज करके, then you, if when that impacts all the way down to the world view changes, knowledge changes, then it comes to charitra.
Yeah.
And the charitra change happens. So this is a slow process, bhai.
It's a slow process, but I'm finding it's not slow.
It's organic. It's organic. I mean, of course, it will have an avalanche effect after some point.
Because it takes time. It takes 2 years to get a change, visible change from there.
हाँ, मैं जापान जाके वापस आया, I'm trying to bring those things here. So आप जो कर रहे हो, they will come back and do that to their villages probably.
Yeah. But I'm finding the change is permanent. By subsidies, you can change a rural India.
No, you cannot. You can't.
You can't change any human being by subsidy. You make him a beggar here.
No, by subsidy, I think you also take away their self-respect, their self-worth goes.
Self-worth goes down.
It is the worst form of help that you can give a person is by subsidy or charity.
Yeah.
Wow. So did you find any difference in the learning potential among the villagers or those people? See, you're having corporates helping you. Did you have to do some work on them so that they could unlearn their biases? Navneet, please, sorry, I'm just taking a few minutes more.
Yeah, so definitely there is something has to be worked upon the corporate people. They have to unlearn a lot of things, but they have to go and live in their villages. So they work with but they become humble because we work with NGOs who are so deeply connected. Manju goes to village and Jharkhand where they don't know what the tomato is. Still in India, tribal villages where people don't know what do you do with the tomato.
Wow.
They are tribal villages. We visited one of the tribal village in multiple tribal villages where Naxalite movements are there, so-called Maoist movement are there. Yeah. And we stayed and eaten with them. Right. And they only eat leaves and the rice. Right. And so it's a reality is much different than what we read in the newspapers. Newspapers hardly communicate what the real India is, unfortunately.
Bhai, I'm going to be asking you, this is fantastic and I hope many of our people have learned. Before we go into question and answers, I do wish to touch upon some of your personal side, and I did take some permission from Manju Bhabi also. So I heard that, no, but before that, let me ask you, Bhai, how curious are you as a person? So I check my curiosity and openness of mind. I apply a benchmark, I apply a touchstone to myself. Whenever I tell myself, am I open-minded, I always ask myself how committed I am to my curiosity as against my commitment to my convictions. So I wanted to ask you that because you seem to be somebody who's extremely open-minded.
Curiosity is the first asking the right question. So I say, I need to give a space in my mind which can germinate a question. So in my family, my daughter keep on telling me every Sunday a new question comes in. So our research start on Sunday morning. Right. That okay, today why the birds fly? How can a bird fly 3,000 kilometers and the bird weight is 100 gram bird can fly from one point to other point? Or why the flower is color is like this? So these are the question comes on Sunday. Then we do some research and so
now tell me something far more interesting than any of this management. I heard that you are one of the best आलू टिक्की मेकर्स एट होम. तो मुझे जरा आप उसकी बात बताएं जब आपने बिरला मंदिर में रेडी लगाई थी और आपने आलू टिक्की और चाट बेचे थे. दैट इज ऑल्सो अरुण फॉर मी. तो हमें तो आना पड़ेगा, चेन्नई आके खाना तो पड़ेगा. पर आप बताइए आपने ये आलू टिक्की का सीखा कैसे? भाभी कहती हैं कि यू आर द बेस्ट एक्चुअली. तो जरा उसका भी बताइए.
I think this is just हम 10वीं क्लास में थे, we are 10th standard and we were some friends, we wanted to put some social service and we didn't have money to do it, so we put a bhelpuri stall along with the रेडी वाला. तो bhelpuri में जो जन्माष्टमी पे स्टॉल लगते हैं तो all the ready wala there. So they also keep some 4 bricks on the corner and occupy the space. We also went in the night to keep the 4 brick and put a bhelpuri stall next to it. We earned 30 rupees in 1975 on that particular stall. 30 rupees was a big money for us to set up a medical camp after that. But the important point is, there I got curiosity to make some food. Otherwise, a male member in Delhi doesn't supposed to cook. So
Bhai, another thing I heard is that recently you celebrated 25th year of your marriage, and you did it in a fashion which is unique. So I'm aware of the inner details. Maybe you could share it with everybody. कि it was not just partying and dancing, जो सब करते हैं, but आपने कुछ एकदम अलग हट के किया था. So that would also be nice if you could share, and then we'll throw it open to questions.
This was when we were celebrating our 25th anniversary. Me and Manju was celebrating that anniversary. We said a lot of family members will come. My family has 10 siblings and their sons, their children. So we have a combined family of 100 people. So direct family is 100 people. So we said if we are inviting all of them from US and Australia and everywhere, there's no point just doing the partying. So we created a 3-day family workshop. So 3-day family workshop has been, we booked the Oberoi in Delhi, and then having a 3 conference room. One conference room was training program for 50 plus years. So training program for 50 plus years. Normally you don't do a training program for the older people, and we have a facilitator where we say, do the role plays with a 70-year-old person saying how the new daughter-in-law has to come in a home. And so we brought a topic which are relevant for 50 to 70 years, 20 to 30 years. We invited a management consultant from Silicon Valley who built up a personal leadership for the young next generation. And then we did for the school students a 3rd session. So 3 conference rooms parallelly running. And then next day we did a combined session of all the 100 people together holding hand. And so we found the family bonding happen substantially. And then we started doing every 2 years, because we find in a family is that people, senior leaders of the family never get a opportunity to express themselves. So then we do a family workshop where all older people given a 10 minutes time, like a conference. We have a panel discussion where parenting is discussed, where all the 3 generations are sitting and exposed to such difficult topic when we don't have a placeholder in the family. So just a small shot.
Bhai, before I throw it open to questions, would you like to suggest or share anything with this forum? And of course, the DCE DTU Fraternity Forum will formally seek your blessings and ashirwad. But anything for the forum, for the members who have joined up, we have more than 3,000 members. I'm sure this will go from strength to strength. And we would at some point also like your inputs on how to make this a platform which is transparent, credible, and plays the role for which we have envisaged it. Any inputs, any words of advice, guidance?
I think you have done a good start as of now, and Navneet, the 3,000 members are a great asset, I would say. Each member is an asset, and how do we really bring them into the smaller communities of 50, 60, 100 communities? But there should be some system design for building like a Rotary Club meet every month, or some processes need to be designed where they can do it. And students, and I love the point which Krish, you are mentioning, is about it's a fraternity of all the 4 community, boundaryless community. That's a beautiful concept. A student and alumni. Why should 2 words should be there? It's a continuous learning journey. It's not that after I passed out from DCE, it's the end of my learning journey. Actually, learning journey happens when I passed out and go to the industry where I apply the learnings of the college in implementing it. And then the faculties, how the faculty participate with the industry. I think there is too much box happening. I think if this fraternity can do unboxing of it, that would be the great contribution. And it could be different kind of an organization, different kind of institution. Otherwise, it's alumni means IIT alumni means alumni only.
Right.
I can't create some common groups.
Right. Thank you so much, Bhai. Navneet, I don't have any questions, but do you have, yes, Amisha, any questions you want to moderate?
Yes, sir. So we are having a lot of other questions too, but since we're running short on time, so we'll be taking up only a few questions.
Sure. I'm sorry I took up so much bandwidth, but
not an issue, sir. So the first question is, there are some very young engineers on the forum. What would you like them to tell about your career journey?
Being fearless is important. So I think if the purpose and purity is there of whatever you want to do, but do with a purpose. So define your purpose for young engineer. I think people will come to you, support you, and get what you want. But your clarity of the purpose can come only from internally.
Superb, superb. Amisha, next question.
Yes, sir. Sir, next is you have done wonderful. Is there an innovative idea to make the 4 year students spend their time meaningfully in DTU? And how can something be done practically?
I think that we need to look at it. What is the DTU current syllabus, the current curriculum, current pedagogies are there. As of now, I'm talking to AICT. Anil says, Buddha, I had a meeting last week that the engineering program needs a design thinking kind of a element to be introduced in various subjects which is being done. As a student, if they can participate and they can be bold enough. In my personal career, I returned third year. I did multiple trainings. Every summer vacation, I did my training. After second year, after third year, after fourth year, I used our summer vacation for the training. And that time college didn't organize it. But I wrote directly to the director of NIC, National Informatics Center, that I want to do a training with you. The first reaction was, who are you? Your college should write. Then I took a letter from the college and given it to him. So students have a lot of power to do training. And the more the training you can get engaged, you should be fearless in writing to the head of the organization. Sometimes you'll not get a response, but if 5 people write to the head of organization, you'll get a chance to work in any institution, whether you want to work in ISRO or you want to work in Infosys, you want to work in Intellect, you'll get a chance. The more you learn practically in an organization internship, you will be better off.
Bhai, can I just jump in here,
Yeah.
Misha? This is a very important point. You're meeting with Anil Sahasrabudhe of AICTE. So if at some point, if Navneet and I could interface with the present DTU and their management and the governing council, would you think it appropriate to guide so that the curriculum, the pedagogy could be reviewed so that Mother DCE, DTU could get the benefit of such exalted thinking so that the eminence could be stretched? Would you allow us to touch you on interface you with the community? How
Sure.
should we do that?
I welcome all the DTU fraternity, maybe the faculty of DTU-DCE, if they can come to Chennai, we can show the design center, spend a 2-day workshop with them. So whatever the level, when I will be in Delhi, we can have some meeting in Delhi, in the college.
Thank you so much, Bhai. Sorry, Amisha, next question, you can go for that.
That's really great of you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Actually, since we are running short on time, I would now like to invite Mr. Amit Kumar Arya, Secretary of DMA, who is currently the Automation Sales and Solutioning Lead Europe for Accenture, to give the vote of thanks. Sir, please.
Mute. Mesmerize is the word I will use today. Good evening, everyone, and this has been an engaging past 1 hour. On this wonderful evening, I take this golden opportunity to thank Mr. Arun Jain, CMD Intellect Design Arena Ltd, for taking time for his busy schedule. We will cultivate your advice, sir. Your Sansmaran you gave from your real life. Your growth story, ideas on decaf, dialogue, building trust to humility is truly inspiring and a great learning. Thank you very much, sir. I also want to thank Mrs. Manju Jain for her gracious presence. It was inspiring to hear about your social work. Thank you, ma'am. I extend my gratitude to Mr. Shrikrishna Kulkarni, Chairperson, Governing Board IIM Calcutta, for spending time with us today and moderating the event. Your words, excellent topics like design thinking, idea innovation, making this discussion more lively and will help us excel in life in future. My heartful thank goes to Mr. N.K. Sharma, IRSS, Founder and President, DTU-DC Fraternity Forum, and Chairperson, GIAIC DMA, and Dr. Yogesh Mishra, President, Delhi Management Association, and Vice President, Thomas Assessments, for both being on and off stage, not only for participating, but also guiding us towards a meaningful life. I'm touched with the questions being asked. It's very impressed with the wonderful participants with their questions, which includes both DTU-DC students, Delhi Management Association members, and our professionals, students, and truly deserve a huge round of applause for them. Last but not the least, I want to thank you, all the conference team at Backend, Sambhavi, Harshit, Amisha, Rahul, and all others part of YouTube, Google Meet, technical marketing, and everyone involved. Without this, which would not be a success. Once again, I thank you everyone wholeheartedly. Thanks a lot.